Yeah, I think, gosh, we've got quite an opening weekend. NC State returns almost everybody, really formidable team, followed up by a Missouri team that, made it to the second round of the tournament last year. Second-year head coach, Don Sullivan's a good friend of mine. She is doing such a phenomenal job. And they return most of their team and added some pretty phenomenal pieces. So they're really good. And then a very good Drake team that did graduate a couple of their stars, but they've been consistently in the top third of the Missouri Valley. So we're excited to get back home. It was nice to go on the road. I always like to go on the road early in the season. So getting to do that with the exhibition was great. And I think, we did some good things. We did some things we got to work on, but it was exactly what we needed.
Questions? You talk about not needing to peak right now, but just getting 1% better every day. What would that look like this weekend?
I think it's almost player to player. Obviously, that culminates with the team, but in some cases it might be lessening our hitting errors. In some cases it might be decision making on where I'm sending the ball, protecting. If someone hits a really good serve, can't get aced, I'm going to protect that a little bit more. So I don't know if I look at. I didn't walk away with like a big nugget, like, gosh, we're really bad at this. I did think we need to be better in transition defense, so that will be kind of a team thing that we'll be locked into. I thought we didn't come out serving aggressively and worked into that, so, we'll talk about coming out from first ball in. So there's some team stuff, but it's not a major, there's not one major thing that I'm like, gosh, we're really struggling here. Everyone needs to take a step forward.
What'd you learn in Fort Collins?
Yeah, kind of like, I thought they won a lot of the long rallies, and we really hang our hat on winning those. So we talked about that with the team. So a lot of that was the dig transition defense stuff. Colorado State's a very good team. They had one player that we really struggled to contain, which is very applicable to a lot of teams. But then on the other hand, I thought we were able to make some adjustments and contain some other people as the match progressed.
What kind of development have you seen out of Ava Martin this offseason? What can she do for you this year?
Yeah, Ava a lot of times gets lost in the media sometimes, and that kid is a baller. And, as part of our USA program this summer, made the collegiate national team. Ava, she's always been a great hitter, where I just see some massive strides from her. She might statistically be our best passer, but she's one of our best passers. Her defense has really taken steps forward. She's got a great serve. So I think the exciting thing for Ava is her entire game has continued to develop in addition to what she does, what everyone notices, the offense.
I'm curious how you have approached the team in balancing the getting 1% better every day, but still trying to place an emphasis on the first 3 weekends, given how the non-con schedule is.
Yeah, no, we need to be in midseason form. I mean, it's the benefit we have is we return a lot of players, and then the other benefit is our transfers came in last spring. So, we had more than 2 weeks with some of these kids, which is different than some programs, of course. I think you try not to put the weight of the world. The good thing with our schedule is, as rigorous as it is, none of them are bad losses if we stub our toe. All of them are good wins. So let's go get some wins. I've told them to host a regional. We're probably going to have to go undefeated. I mean, we've had that discussion. So we understand the value of every single match. But realistically, our first goal is to make the NCAA tournament. So this schedule, as rigorous it is, sets up that opportunity if we take care of some of them. And obviously we want to win as many as we can.
What would it mean to get off to a hot start this weekend, to just kind of set the foundation for the next 3 weeks, if you will?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that way. I think one match at a time. As my staff I live in a state of paranoia. I mean, it's just what I think coaches do. You watch a team, I'm spending a lot of time on these first couple matches, and I live in a state of panic. If this kid goes off, we're going to be in trouble. So I think a lot of coaches can commiserate on that. So I'm not looking at it for Monday. I'm looking at it for Friday right now.
Coach, the new replay system that we saw yesterday in Louisville. I know that was a big topic in Pittsburgh last season with how that fifth set went. What did you make of it, and just initial impressions?
Yeah, it's so great for our sport that we're moving this way. Internationally, I mean, if the PVF here in Omaha was using the Bolt system, the AVCA Showcase obviously did. The SEC this year has purchased Bolt. It's not quite as advanced as that version is that you guys saw last night, but you're going to see leagues going that way. And I don't think the big is mandated, but I would guess that they won't be. That'll happen soon. That you'll see some of these power conferences lean into it. Obviously, yeah, you can always have those moments that you're like, gosh, I wish I had that. But I think more importantly, it is tech is just, what were we 5-6 years ago? There was nothing, so we're just moving the right direction. Technology is amazing. It changes, we'll be having that sort of replay, I think, in the next 2 to 3 years. Tennis has been doing it for years, as a lot of people know, the Hawkeye system. And maybe that's what the SEC has. They might have the Hawkeye. Anyway, they're going to have an advanced system on it too. But my point is, hopefully we'll be able to do that soon at Creighton, and as the tech goes and it's really expensive. That's the challenge right now. You're talking 6-figure expensive, and then you have to have lots of people manning it. So it's not a one-time donation, but I think we'll get there as those prices start to come down.
Do you think leagues will mandate that one day, like 5, 6, 7 years?
Yeah, I think absolutely. Yeah, and I think the SEC bought, and again, do you know offhand, is it Hawkeye? They bought it as a league, like the league is doing it. So then it, I think you'll see that sort of thing because they'll get a discount if all of them do it.
What are you looking to get out of NC State? What are you expecting from them on Friday?
We anticipate them being in a 6-2. I think there's a chance they could flip into a 5-1, but they've got both Missouri and NC State have dominant lefties. And then, NC State has 2 really good outsides that are really, really different. And then they've got middle. I think the good thing, what NC State does well is they've got parity all over. You can't just lock into a kid. So, that means that serving's going to need to be important so that you can disrupt their rhythm a little bit, because when they get going, they're good.
What are you hoping that viewers take away from what they see on the floor from your team this weekend, that identity?
Well, I think, I hope they see a group that's disciplined, that we know where we're supposed to be going from a scouting perspective, and, we're not missing blocking cues and things along those lines. I hope we're playing with joy. I think in life we perform better when we're enjoying what we're doing, and so that's something that we'll lean into. And we want to outwork teams, and that's what we talk about in the gym, that we're going to be flying, making those plays that other people might give up on, that we're going to play the ugly better than the opponent is kind of what we talk about. So hopefully those things, and then we'll have some ups and downs. Every team does, and just being able to navigate. They're a pretty resilient group, so I hope we see that they if and when we struggle, which is likely at some point, that we can navigate that and get back on the right path.
Last week when we talked to you, you said you didn't even bring up the ranking to the team, but now hearing you talk about the expectations of if we're trying to host a regional, we probably have to be undefeated. Have you had those conversations, and how do you try to manage those high expectations?
I had this conversation once. I explain, we go through RPI every year, so I show team sheets and kind of explain how the committee how they make the NCAA tournament selection. And my message to the team is the value of every game. So we call matches resume builders or resume killers. So I can approach, and what I said is pretty much every non-conference match is going to be a resume builder. So that hopefully actually gives them not stress, but these are opportunities in front of us, not stressful, because they're not resume killers. I think those are the stressful matches. These are just opportunities to build the resume. So when I alluded to having to go undefeated, that was where that conversation came from, of educating them of what has to happen and the why behind it, why we can't lose to a 100+ RPI team, how that is devastating to the selection committee. And we've done it before, and we may drop a match, but them to take every match again, where I see teams get burned is they don't show up for the matches that seem easy, and you get beat. Everyone's good. So our expectation is we respect everyone on the opposite side, regardless of their ranking.
just emotions for you heading into this season with having such an experienced bunch, coming off that postseason success, knowing what this group might be capable of?
You know, I think, you know, I want them to do, it's almost maternal. I mean, I just love them so much that I want them to have a great year because I know how hard they've worked. I know what great young women they are. So I think as coaches, you feel pressure in the sense of how can we get them prepared in practices and scout so that we don't let them down. I think that's kind of the feeling that I have of I want to do everything in my power to elevate this group because they're doing the things in their power to be the best they can be.
What is it like that we are now, I don't know, a little more than 48 hours out from the start of the season? What does that feel like?
Well, I think it's probably the same way the players feel. It's a nervous excitement. You know, I think, I mean, I still get fired up to get into that gym and our fans and, you know, Sokol's a pretty special place to play and coach. So I'm excited for that. But, you know, I'd be lying if I was saying I don't have nerves or anything along those lines. I think sometimes nerves elevate us though. So we're excited for the opportunity.